Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. My name is Camillus, and today I'm very excited to show you this presentation with QB himself. Now, we're going to have a small discussion with him, but first, let's have an introduction.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is QB. I'm a forex trader, and I work with TBS, Tamam Brokerage Services.
Yeah, so everyone that is under TBS and you have accounts under TBS, this is the guy himself. But to leave that aside, today I'm very excited to talk to you, to present to you guys this. We want to know what exactly is helping traders like make it. How are traders coming over these issues of trading? How can they be, disciplined? How best can they work upon their psychology? And we're going to be hearing from a mentor himself. So if you're out there and you're a struggling trader, this is the right channel for you to listen to. Let's get it from himself. So thank you so much for joining us today again. I just want to understand, give us a brief breakdown of what you perceive in trading, what you think trading should be and how it should be taken.
First off, generally throughout whole life, most of the things that we do, or most of the things that we believe in, some people regard them as limiting beliefs, but most of the things that we believe in right from the words go when we are at birth. For I think the first 7 years, those beliefs are always going to stick with us.
Yeah.
Now, trading is not something that's completely outrageous from the normal day-to-day life that's lived by a normal person. You get?
Yeah.
So with trading, it's entirely perception.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what you believe in or the things that you've been told to believe in, it's literally what you're going to have to portray right into the market. So if I believe, according to my beliefs, right from birth, if someone believes, I would want to use myself as an example. If someone believes that they are a failure, you're most definitely going to fail into the market.
Mm-hmm.
And if you believe that you're a winner, if you believe that you're someone that can make money out of the market, you're most definitely going to achieve it.
Okay.
Basically, that's what it is like on the surface.
So on the surface, in your view, it's more of something that has to do with psychology, something that has to do with your brain, your belief, and all of that.
Well, that should be the premise from which it is entirely taken. However, for most people, because most people do believe in this whole thing called psychology, like psychology is really important, but then it literally gets to dive down to the most basic of things you get. Now, within the whole line of abundance, most people talk about you being prepared in case you want to get the money, because for traders, when a trader is trying to trade, they're trying to make money. So you literally have to prepare yourself entirely to be positioned to achieve that money that you're trying to look out for.
Yeah.
So before you even dive down to the psychology, it's the small things that you do, small things that help you build the discipline. If I wake up, have I laid my bed? Am I cleaning my room? Are my shoes clean? Are my clothes clean? Do I iron? Do I reach on time? Do I respect people? Small basic things.
Yeah.
And if you're in position to achieve that level of discipline, trading is something that's really daunting if you're not really serious with things regarding discipline. If I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I'm going to jog every morning that I wake up, and you completely dedicate yourself to that commitment, when you get into the market, you're like, every time I see price within a certain area, that's the only time I'm going to be trading. I'm going to be looking at a specific instruments or specific instruments per se. If you don't have that discipline to jog in the morning, as you say, every day at that specific point in time, it's going to be very hard for you to stick to the instruments that you're saying that you're going to be trading.
Mm.
And in that, you're going to start realizing hindrances in regard to what most people regard as psychology. But psychology could be some sort of like a facade, It's not all that as people think it is, that you have to have a sound mind. Bro, if you're using the right full load size on your trading account, what would you need a sound mind for? But if you're going to risk your account entirely highly,
Yeah.
your psychology, as people say, it is going to be off the hook.
Exactly.
So you're literally not disciplined to basically use the lot size that you're supposed to be using.
True. You already damaged it.
Yeah. So the psychology will most definitely come. You feel like you want to meditate, you feel like you want to stop having the fear, but you're indisciplined.
Yeah.
That's how I can.
You already have a high load size, so what's the point? Even if you meditated, it's still
still going to blow you.
Yeah. So how does someone build that commitment, to I'm going to do this every day. I'm going to follow my trading plan. How does someone build it from scratch? Like, what would be the best way to build it from scratch? Because, we're all not perfect. Yeah. We're all humans, we err. But then how does someone get that, consistency and commitment?
Now, it's all a point of actually trying to realize that you have to do certain things, or else if you don't do them, you're going to keep on being in the same place.
Yeah.
You get? Now, if I've been a person that's trading and I'm not realizing any profit for close to a year,
Yeah.
and I'm still doing the same exact thing, they say, I don't know which quote it was, but it's like nothing changes if nothing changes.
True.
You get?
Yeah.
You're really not going to realize any change if you don't change.
True.
So if you're indisciplined, if you don't have any level of commitment to the things that you say you're going to do, you're most definitely going to remain in the same place, literally.
True.
But if you take that step, it's just a matter of doing. Like, there's no hack, there's no one who's going to come and babysit you, there's no formula. So you should just wake up and do it. You get? That's all it is. Like, discipline doesn't call for some, fairy tale story. It does not call for someone to come and sing lullabies to you before you go to sleep. It does not bring anything regarding babysitting. You just have to wake up, decide what you're going to do, and you do it.
There's no magic.
And if you don't do it, nothing changes if nothing changes.
Wow.
So
if you're not pushing it, then you don't expect a change. Wow, very interesting. So to the beginner out there, how would you advise them when it comes around trading? What should be the first steps they take on? Because you're a mentor yourself, yeah, and you've had a lot of beginners, and you probably know what mistakes they will always make. What should they do to get to at least a level where they could make, some paper off?
Now, I'll bring out one story that's outside trading in regards to someone talking about a beginner. In any line of business, because trading itself is a business, if you're trying to realize maybe at some point in your career, you're trying to look at maybe having a basic. Now, for a Ugandan, if someone withdraws $5,000, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot.
And there's a possibility for someone to be in position to get that money. Even if you're starting off with 500, because they say close to 90% of Ugandans get less than $1 million Ugandan shillings, and that's way less than $300, under $300, something like $250 or $270. So that being said, if someone wants to realize, let's say $500, it can be regarded as a business. Now, there's this guy called Vusi Thembekwayo. There's one statement, one video I came across, I think it was on IG, where he was talking about the story of Amazon. I don't really remember the exact story, but I picked out something. He was saying that Amazon, for the first 5 years, they were operating without revenue. You get? So they operated without revenue. By that, I think he meant that they were operating without money to be in position to run the day-to-day activities of the business.
But
but they were still moving. So what they actually did to get out of that, they had, I really like that story a lot, and I've told it to very many people. What they had to do is they did something similar to crowdfunding, where you have someone to fund a business for some time, it runs out, another person funds it for some time, another person funds it for some time so they can survive. It's trying to show you that nobody has success right from the word go. So for the beginners, there's people who like taking shortcuts. I'm going to go and study ICT. I'm going to go and study, let's say, supply and demand, a specific topic. But in literal sense, you're supposed to come from the ground up, go through those indicators. They are not working. You're literally doing everything. You give yourself some time, let's say 5 to 6 years. It's not like everybody's supposed to make money after a very long period of time. But if you're a beginner, you have to start having that understanding that things are not just going to come out of the blue. You're into the market 1 year, 2 years, and you're already driving whatever dream car you have on your mind.
True.
You have to take it as something serious. You come into it really, really dedicated. You don't try to take shortcuts, because you have to realize some of those losses. There's another quote from because I'm a Muganda by tribe, but then they have this sort of a quote that someone who is wise is always going to learn from mistakes of others. But if you're dumb, you're going to be listening from mistakes of your own. But when it comes to trading, I feel like mistakes from your own experience are far much better. But you could still learn from other people's mistakes. For instance, if you've seen a guy who has been trading and they've lost money, they were trading for someone, they asked for someone for money, and then they traded for them, and then they lost their money, you shouldn't be going that route.
Sure.
You get? Maybe you could kind of try to, if you feel like you have someone that wants to give you money to trade for them, you could try the route of maybe trying to invest in a prop firm because it's a little bit cheaper. Why? Because if you trade somebody else's money, other people have traded someone else's money and they lost it, you're most definitely going to be losing it. So it's going to take you down a path you may not really want. So to generalize everything, as a beginner, you have to kind of like understand that this thing is not really going to take you a very short time. It's a business, it's a skill. Guys study for close to 4 years, 5 years, some people even 8 years while rebounding to kind of like achieve a certain skill. So you should have the same mindset. And once you divert off that, you're really gone.
True.
That is it.
So it's not really a get-rich-quick scheme.
It isn't.
You're not coming here for one day and you're moving away with a Lambo. We're gonna start calling you Lambo. Anyway, so we're getting some of these insights from him. But before we continue any further, I want to remind you guys about the TBS, 100% deposit bonus. Yeah. So all you have to do to get that bonus, you have to deposit $100 or more on your account, and then they'll give you 100% bonus, and it actually is withdrawable. So be sure to take up some of those opportunities. So while we get back to our discussion, I want to understand for someone that has gotten into the market, they've done the commitment, they've gone through all the phases, they've learned, they've studied, they've really been committed. It's now a year and they're still not seeing progress. Okay, it's more than a year, they're still not seeing progress. What would you tell them? Yes, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, but then how does someone really remain with the zeal and the power? Remember, in all this, you're not making money.
Yeah, I
so
understand.
How do they remain with the zeal and power?
Now, trading itself is not the only skill someone has to have.
Okay.
There is mind preparedness, and mind preparedness comes from so many things through life. But the best and quickest way, if someone has maybe taken up a year, the most information you're always going to get is going to be from books.
Okay.
Now, what are books? If I could maybe basically try to explain it, a book is literally someone's story. They're giving you their years of work, their years of practice, their years of experience. And it's so good that you can actually get to read that book within a week, if it's the only thing you're doing, or if you're listening, doing your day-to-day activities. The books I listen to when I'm maybe, like, let's say, cleaning my shoes or doing something like at home, trying to lay my bed, and I'm playing the book, or I'm trying to do something like on my machine, I'm playing the book on the side. You kind of like get a lot of information from those books than you would get from your own personal experience. So let's say your personal experience, so the things that you're going to be learning, the mistakes that you're going to be making are going to be taking you close to, let's say, 2 years. You can suppress all that information by learning from someone else's work through a book. So for mind preparedness, for someone to maybe get to realize that amount of money, trading is way beyond the technicalities, it's way beyond the fundamentals, it's way beyond all those things. It comes down to you as a person. Now, how you build yourself as a person, it's always better to learn from other people's experiences.
Very true.
They do not necessarily have to be traders. They can be people you can maybe read about Stoics, the Stoic people, like the Marcus Aurelius, all those guys. You try to read about them, try to see how they control themselves in times of adversity. Because you're trading, you're really going to be hit. You're going to be beat down, like to that, literally to pulp. And if you can't have the confidence to get out of that, you may not have a trader story telling you that, but someone could tell you a story about their business, how they were hit rock bottom and they later on realized success. There's a book called, I think, The Millionaire Fast Lane by some guy called MJ Damaco. The book is not about trading in any way. I think it's about like tech, something like that. But it has so many stories. Those guys tend to incorporate other stories from ancient times, like they say the ancient Egyptians, ancient civilization. So all those things kind of like build you. And the more information you have, the more time you're trying to cut down. Maybe 4 years or 3 years down the road, you're at the top of your game.
True.
But if you're going to be taking it as a sole person, trying to learn things by your own, in most cases it's going to be really a rough and long road. So to cut down that time, bury yourself in a couple of books. There's so many good books. There's Atomic Habits by James Clear. There's Ego is the Enemy by, I think, Ryan Holiday. There's this book called 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It's not in any way regarding to trading, but it kind of like helps you prepare yourself in normal day-to-day lives.
True.
They have stories. There are so many stories that you can relate with. reading about the oldest samurais. There's a guy called Miyamoto Musashi. He used to have like these sort of like duels, and every duel was a challenge of its own. But how he used his mind to kind of like navigate through that, you can borrow that information, incorporate it into your trading, and it could somewhat help. So it's not always going to be technicals, not always going to be fundamentals, but other things outside life. Yeah.
Wow.
That is it.
Very, very interesting. So there are very many books that you can actually go, and actually do not worry. All the books that he's talked about, we're going to put them in the description, and be sure to check them all out. So with that, I want to come to one of the last areas I want us to talk about. We all know QB is actually very, very big on workouts and all of that. So we want to understand, what would you describe your relationship with working out, physical fitness, and trading?
Now, like, physical fitness is one of the hardest things. I'm not out here trying to stand as someone who knows a lot about physical fitness, but it's something I personally do believe in. And for most of the people that are around me, they'll really tell you that they've at least gotten that feel of like having to put themselves in that line of physical fitness. It's not something braggant. It's something so much exposed. Like when you go maybe to the outside, you're going to see a lot of people getting involved in this thing. So with a good mind, a sound mind, with profitability comes with a sound mind.
True. Healthy.
And now there are so many things that people talk about and they don't even realize the importance of those things. For instance, someone is going to tell you when they go to the gym to maybe work out, it's going to help their mind, but they don't know the inside depth information that gets to help them, be in that kind of like sound mind. So there are some specifics I may not know like in detail, but I could give a hint of what actually happens when someone gets to have some level of exercise. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to lift weights, even running, you sweat, and the brain itself, leave alone the mind, but the brain itself is more like a body part of its own. And it generates waste. The very same way you run and sweat on your skin, the brain is going to have some waste that will have to be removed from it. So whenever you work out, some hormones are secreted into your brain or your neurons. So once they are secreted, they help release of brain waste from the brain. So once they release that brain waste from the brain itself, you're going to have that peace. Your brain is going to be facilitated in a way that it will be operating really faster. Then there are other things that are associated with working out regarding sleep, like maybe someone having some sort of sound sleep. Now sleep is some other chapter of its own. It's something deeper than actually people imagine. That is why you see high performance people who work out really prioritize sleep. The biggest athletes, you hear guys telling you of sleeping for 92 hours or 90 hours in a day. Guys like Ronaldo begging people that are celebrating him to leave him so that he can have sleep. So it's something that's really important. So working out itself, first of all, helps build that discipline. If I say I'm going to wake up every morning and I do, let's say, 500 push-ups and I commit to doing them, there's how I'm going to feel about it. In terms of self-esteem, it's going to give me confidence, it's going to give me courage. Now, aside that, we talked about the brain itself. It's really going to be very hard for me to be drowsy. Let's say if I'm going for work, it's going to help me be a little bit active, in a way. And it's not the only thing that is going to help me with. If I commit to those 500 every morning, they don't have to be 500, even if they're 50, even if they're 20, even if they're 10. If I commit to those 10, if I go to my PC and I open a chart, let's say I'm looking at BTC USD, I'm looking at, let's say, Euro USD, GJ, or gold, or whatever, and I know every time price reaches an area like this, price has already left me, I can't touch that trade, there is no way I'm going to have the willingness to take that trade when my brain is telling me you're supposed to be disciplined, same way that you're supposed to be disciplined in the morning while taking the 50 push-ups. So it's something way beyond. It's not even about physical body, but those are advantages that you get in the end, looking physically good. There's so many things around it really, and it's a very diverse topic. But the very basis of it, with regards to trading, it helps you have that discipline that you need in the market. That's why you've heard of guys like Mark Douglas write a book called The Disciplined Trader. So if you don't have discipline in day-to-day activities of your life, it's really going to be very hard for you to have that discipline while trading.
Very true.
So you're going to use 0.2, you find yourself using 0.5 or one standard. Before you know it, the account is done and you're back down to the same spot.
Very, very true.
So I think that's what I could probably hint on it. But
Wow.
You guys can always go and make research.
So thank you so much again. Now, for me, my biggest take on this is healthy mind, healthy body can lead you to profitability, of course. Being committed to what you say you're going to do improves your self-esteem as well. And you have to keep on going. You never have to give up. You don't have to sit back and relax. And that is something that I see that we should all incorporate in our training, in our trading. And also one other pick, it is the small habits that we build on our day-to-day living that are actually going to be very impactful in our trading. And guys, with that, I want to come to the end of this show. Thank you so much, Mr. QB, for having a talk with us. We really appreciate that so much.
Thank you as well, sir.
Yeah. And briefly, again, before we move on, we want to remind you about the challenge that TBS is giving out. TBS is giving you a challenge that is starting on May 1st. And all you have to do is go to the TBS platform, sign up, have an account, then create a demo account of 10K on your TBS platform. So you then have to send an email. You send a login, the login details of your account, of course, to an email that's going to be again in the description. You find it there. It's about contest something. Send your login details to that account before first. Yeah, before first, and you'll be in position to, trade these accounts. And then there are going to be prizes that will be given out at the end of it all. The first runner up will have $2,000 of a funded account. Second runner and third runner will be $1,000. So guys, make sure you get this opportunity. It's going to be very, very fruitful to you, and see you on the other side. Thank you so much for joining us.